Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. Tonight is episode 60, and this is a big show for me. This is crazy. I launched a show back in August, so to have 60 episodes is really, really, really exciting. So tonight we have Frank McComb, legendary singer, songwriter, keyboardist, and music radar, named Frank the 27th greatest keyboardist of all time. So I'm really excited to bring Frank in the room. We just did a sound check, and he's gonna play some good tunes from us, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So thank you for joining us. I see Justin, Dan, Derry, Colette, and I appreciate your support thus far. So I start each show with a song lyric, and tonight I'm gonna do a lyric from Frank. The song is called Keep Pushing On, and Frank is actually in the room, so I'm going to share Frank's song lyric while Frank is in the room with us. So Frank, join the chat and I will bring you on in. Okay, I'm not sure what happened. It tried to... Okay, if you could just request to join one more time, Frank. For some reason, it didn't join. I think we're having some technical difficulties. Sometimes Instagram likes to have technical difficulties, which is not fun. Frank, join one more time. Request to join my live. Okay. Hey! Hello,
hello! Hey! What's happening?
Not too much. So, Frank, I was introducing you to the before you came in, and I start each show with a song lyric. So tonight, I'm actually going to share one of your song lyrics with the room, and I saw that you were in here, so I figured, you know what? Let me bring Frank in here and share his song lyric with him.
Cool. Works for me.
So this Frank song, Keep Pushing On. They're going to talk, say what they want to say, remain true to yourself. In the end, you'll be happier that way. I wouldn't share with you something that I haven't gone through, and I'm still going to keep pushing on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Frank, talk to us about
to whom it may concern.
Your song.
Yes. Well, I actually wrote that tune when I was I think I was just wow, I was going through something in my life some years ago. I can't remember what it was, but it prompted me to write the tune. You know, sometimes you have to minister to yourself, you know, and I wrote the tune actually to me. And I said, okay, you know, you really can't bless anybody else if you can't bless yourself first. So, you know, and I wrote the tune because I was going through some things, and I figured I'm not the only one in the world going through something. So I decided to write that tune, and I ended up putting it on my debut album, Love Stories, for Columbia back in 2000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Debut album. That seems to be a favorite among many. Yeah, that was my debut album. People still talk about that album like I just released it. It's 21 years old, you know? Yeah, they still talk about that album like I just put it out.
That's the coolest thing about music, though. Like 21 years later, people are still talking about it, and that's the power of music. Yeah.
I mean, Stevie Wonder has albums that are 50 years old. They're my age.
Exactly.
And they're still playing that stuff on the radio like it just came out, you know?
I know. So Frank, we're in March, which means it's Women's History Month. We only have a couple days left of March. Tell us about a woman in your life who inspires
you. Well, I'm married to her almost 27 years.
Yes.
When I was going through the havoc with the record label, she was my backbone. You know, my wife was my backbone. And then there's my daughter, who's grown to be such a beautiful young woman. She just inspires me so much. You know, just she didn't want to go to music route. She went in the hotel field. So, and she's doing very well there. Yeah.
What's your creative process like, Frank?
Nowadays, to be honest with you, I don't really have one. You know, when I was younger, I was always sitting at the piano, always writing something. But I wrote so much music, I really don't have to create too much because I've got a bin in my garage that's filled with cassettes. And all those cassettes are filled with songs that I really need to finish, you know. As I got older and started running my own business, doing everything for myself, you know, there's not much time to sit at the piano and do that anymore, you know. For me, when I was younger, I wasn't heading up my own record label, my own management, my own booking agency, things of that nature. I had the time to sit down and just create and just come up with ideas. But after having been signed to 2 major labels and nothing worked, nothing happened for me. And one indie label, nothing happened for me. I didn't want to make a career of chasing labels, so I started building my own thing. So the more work I put into booking my own dates, managing my own career, you know, the less time I had to sit down and be creative. But now, you know, that I'm established, here I am years later, I could actually make the time. But you know, we men, we have this issue with this thing called balance. Y'all women know how to do that really good, but us, nah. The balance thing is not so easy for us. You know?
No, I know what you mean.
It's not so easy for us. But I do pretty well. I do pretty well. I need to sit down more often and just play, you know, just practice. You know, if Herbie Hancock can do it, I can do it. I heard he still sits down and practices.
Yeah.
So if he can do it, I can do it, I guess. You know.
So I guess with your last album, did the keyboard part come first or were the vocals first?
Actually, I guess it all depends on the song on the actual album. Because I mean, I could be sitting down watching a movie and it could be dead silence in that movie and I could hear music. Yeah. You know, I could. I mean, I endorse a company called Korg. They're keyboards. I'm in most of their keyboards. I've done a lot of the demos for them since 2004. And I would get a keyboard from them and I would just go through the sounds. And I could actually hear like one of the patches that Jack Hotop put together and play around with it. And before I know it, I have a whole song. Like on my debut album, there was a song, All You Need Is Love, with this electric piano that starts out in the beginning. It sounds really weird. Whoa, 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 whoa. And I played these chords with that sound. Before I knew it, the song was called All You Need Is Love. The song was written in the whole 9, probably in a couple hours it was finished.
Wow.
So I could just be goofing around with a keyboard, hear a sound, make a part, and write a whole song around it. So it's like, I never try to limit myself when it comes down to being creative. I try not to put, you know, the shackles or the walls on my mind, because you can come up with an idea, you know, just from watching somebody walk down the street.
Oh yeah.
You really could. Yeah, you really could. So I just it all depends. There's no specific creative process for me. You know, I just do it.
Yeah.
You know.
You do what feels.
I just do what feels good.
Do you ever use voice memos?
Do I?
Use voice memos where you like record into your iPhone?
Sometimes I do. As I've gotten older, yeah. You know, the memory is not what it used to be. Like I used to be able to come up with an idea and hear it in my mind, and I go back to it maybe a day later. But now, yeah, I better get it down fast because, you know, like I said, back then, you know, it was easier for me back then because I wasn't doing all the other jobs. But now I have to write everything down. I take pictures of my receipts. I'm not trying to keep up with all that stuff. I just, you know, I'll type something in my notes and, you know, and I have to remember to go back to look at it.
Yeah. No,
that's the truth. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm obsessed with my notes section in my iPhone. I write everything. I have over like 200 notes, like random things.
Yeah. And then my voice memos, when I had my radio show, The Living Room, which is about to come back. I'm about to get back on that soon too. When I had my radio show, The Living Room, I did so many interviews with so many people in the voice recorder. The voice recorder is a lifesaver, man. I've sung a lot of ideas in it, you know, grocery store lists. And you gotta do what you gotta do at 50.
I know. It's with the iPhone. So
yeah, man. Uh-oh, say again?
The thing with the iPhone is they have all these amazing capabilities. Like, if
Yeah.
this was 10 or 15 years ago, Frank, you and I wouldn't be able to do this.
No, not at all. Not at all. And because of the last year, we're forced to have to do this.
Exactly.
So, you know, yeah. But you know what? I have to say that with this COVID thing jumping off, it made me more aware of my own life. You know,
Right.
it caused me to look at myself and be a little more balanced, you know,
Right.
and where I was slacking, I now have the time to tighten that up. Because when you're traveling all the time, I'm booking my own shows and I'm traveling, I'm going all the time. I didn't really see how out of balance I was. You know,
Right.
my wife told me because I booked my own shows, my wife told me, she said, because you're in it and you're the one doing it, you don't realize how much time you put into that, and you don't realize how long you're gone from home. So 12 months, 8 months out of the year, I was gone. 2 weeks here, a month there, a week here, you add it all up, you know, it's like 8 months. So now that I've been home, it gave me the chance to grow my aloe vera plants. It gave me the chance to enjoy driving my car. You know, instead of being dropped off at the airport all the time, let me do some driving. You know, it gave me the opportunity to drive back and forth to see my daughter who's living in Vegas, you know. So spend more time with my son, creating ideas musically. So, you know, and to be a husband. It's not easy when you're doing it yourself, but this time gave me the opportunity to actually put things in balance, you know.
Yeah. And that's the silver lining with COVID, because right, you were on the road constantly, like international, like you were traveling everywhere, different cities.
All the time, yeah. And see, for me, I was traveling to places that most artists won't go or can't go. I mean, we're talking about little bitty cities up in the hills of Italy somewhere that nobody would even think about having. Yeah. So they love music too.
That's important.
And I would go to all of those places. And I'm going back to all those places as soon as all this crap is over with, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to say that's the only thing that really affected me when it came to COVID was my travel. Because I've always been self-employed. I've been self-employed, booking my own work since I was a kid with my trio back at age 17 in Cleveland, Ohio. So I booked all my own work then. So I just ended up doing it internationally, you know, booking my own work. It was the same mentality for me, just a different place further out. So what's the difference? So yeah, COVID really only slowed me down when it came to the travel. But as far as like making music, putting records out, I own my own catalog, you know, from my third record to my last single I put out, which was Christmas 2020 was the name of the song. We're talking about a good 15 albums or so. I own the masters and the rights to all of that music. So I was able to manipulate it to my advantage, putting out compilations, releasing music when I felt like it, releasing music that I want to put out to feed my audience. I don't have anybody telling me what I can and cannot put out. So freedom is a good thing. Freedom's a great thing. Yeah, freedom's a great thing. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you've collaborated with everybody. Prince, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, Fred Hammond, Phillip Bailey. Like I could just sit here for like days and tell everybody the amount of people that you worked with. But let's start with Prince. How did you get this opportunity to work with Prince?
Actually, it was my friend Raymond McKinley. Raymond and I used to tour Japan with Phillip Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire in the early 90s. Yeah. And then Raymond, whenever I had a local gig and he could play it, I would always call him to play it. So I had a local gig at a place, now it's called something else, but it was called the Level 1 in Beverly Hills. And it was me, Raymond, and a female drummer I had just taken on, Cora Coleman was her name. And we had this gig that my buddy had booked and asked me to, you know, play a show at. So Raymond comes up to me, and Raymond at the time he was working with Sheila E. and Rochelle Farrell. And he told me, he said, hey man, the Little Purple guy is looking for something to get into tonight. And I said, well, little and purple in the same sense could only be one person. Those two words amount to one person. It's got to be Prince. He said, yeah, he's looking for something to get into. So I told him that you were playing and told him to come down and check you out. So it was all because of Raymond McKinley. Prince came down. I told the promoter, I said, look, man, there's a dark room over there. Keep it dark. And if he really shows up, put him over there in that room. So sure enough, we played our first set of 2. And he summons me. He called for me and asked me to come and sit with him. So I went into that dark room and I sat with him for about a good 15 minutes. We talked. and he was saying that he wanted to do some jamming up at his place. And he was, getting into the 3121 thing. That's when it was really getting started. So I told him, I said, well, I would love to come up to your place. Can I bring my unit? And he said, yeah. So I called Corea in, and I called Raymond in. But Raymond said, well, I can't do it because she's got me busy and Sheila's got me busy. So when he pointed and said he was referring to Rochelle Farrell, because I met Rochelle that night through Prince. so he said, she's keeping me busy. He said, she's keeping me busy and Sheila's keeping me busy. I don't have time to do it. So I brought Cora in, and I called on Cora's then boyfriend, Josh, who had just moved to Texas. And I had him come and play bass, awesome bass player. And I called on my buddy Tim Stewart, who everybody knows now for playing for Lady Gaga. He's been with Gaga forever now. Mm-hmm. And but he couldn't do it because he got involved with stuff. So I called this young guy who was still in high school, Jairus Mosey. Awesome guitarist. And Prince loved everybody that I brought to the table. And unit was, the chemistry was there. Like you could have some of the greatest legendary musicians, put them together and not have chemistry. You really could. But you get some no-name guys, or get some guys like War, who look like they have day jobs, and put them together and they have chemistry. You can sell records.
Exactly.
So, but that's, in a nutshell, that's how the whole thing with Prince got started. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was a fun dude to work with, man. Very fun dude.
Yeah, because your friend said, hey, check out my guy Frank. He's playing. Yeah,
and he came down.
Yeah.
He came down. Yeah.
So
we did a lot of the house parties, man. Like the NAACP Awards, Grammys, Oscars, American Music Awards. We did all of those parties after those award ceremonies at his house. And everybody that was anybody was up in that piece. Yeah. The most fun I had was when Stevie Wonder would come through. Stevie Wonder and Herbie Hancock. When they came through, it was home. Yeah, it was home. A lot of fun with those guys.
Frank, what is Prince like as a person?
Everyday person, just like you and me.
Yeah.
One thing about Prince, I think the reason he respected me so much, or one of the reasons he respected me so much, is because I treated him just like the person he was. I treated him like a man who walked on two legs like me.
Yeah.
I didn't come in there stroking, brown nosing and all that foolishness. I never, well, that's with anybody I work with. Shaka Khan, Teena Marie, Fred Hammond, John P. Key, Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff. Anybody I work with, Frankie Beverly, Shaka. I didn't come in as a fan. I came in as somebody they hired, and I kept that kind of cool. And I think that's why I still have their respect today.
Right.
But Prince, I treated him just like, I treated any other person. He bled just like I do, And the fact that I was always straight up with him and treated him that way, I think is one of the reasons why he respected me. Aside from being that independent artist who followed in his footsteps and took my career in my hands. Mm-hmm. So, and we had, we never had, I just said this in an interview yesterday. We never had those shallow political fan artist type of conversations. We always talked about being an artist. We talked about the business of it, how to make the best of you being a brand, because you are a brand. This is my brand, Frank McComb, FM. And when he told me to brand myself because I'm my own product, I sat down and I wrote this FM about 1,000 times until I found the right one. And that's my brand. No different than looking at the Pepsi logo, no different than looking at the Peanuts logo, Charlie Brown, any logo, So you are a brand when you're a record label or at a record label, you're their brand. They're your bank. So he taught me a lot about being my own brand, and being my own bank, how to look for the right things and wrong things in an agreement. Make it an agreement. If you don't know what you're signing, then it's a contract. They've conned you, and that's what he taught me. And he said, if you read through it, learn it, figure it out, no matter how long it takes, and agree to things, come in and change things to make it work for you. It's a game. You just got to know how to play it. Yeah. And he said, always have, give a label or anybody you're working with, give them a year. If they can't get done in a year what needs to be done, then get away from them and have a way out of that contract. Yeah. So he taught me a lot. We talked about things like that. Yeah. Yeah. He was just an all around regular everyday dude. If you approached him and kissed his butt, he'd run over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd run over you. But if you were just every day like we talking, that's how I talk to Prince. Same thing. Yeah.
And I think it's really awesome that he taught you like the music business side of things, because I think some musicians come into the game, right? They just know how to sing or play the piano or play bass or whatever. But when
Yeah.
they get contract or when they're like, oh my gosh, this label wants me, they get so excited and there's like this 40-page contract, right? They sign
40 pages.
hey, the thing
Right.
with TLC when they signed that contract and they were making pennies. And it's like I think
Yeah.
that's important for musicians to know, like
Yeah.
you need to know, maybe you don't need to know the legal jargon, but you at least need to have someone else look at it and be like, is this right? Like
Yeah.
signing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because another thing to keep in mind is that once they've messed your life up, they're going on to the next person, and you stuck trying to put your life back together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, somebody just asked, how can I buy FM's cap? I am from Brazil.
Oh, international, yes.
You know what? I have a big fan base in Brazil. Man, I have some of the coolest fans in Brazil. Oh man, and I still have yet to get there and perform. I'm looking for the right promoter to bring me down to do it right. But you have to email 3104. It's on my Instagram. Go to my Instagram and go to my Facebook. It's there. So there's an email address, but there's a telephone number you might not want to try to call from Brazil. But just email them and tell them you're from Brazil and you want a cap, and they'll work it out with you. Just that easy.
Awesome. Yeah. Love that. You touched on this earlier. You were signed to MoJazz, Columbia Records, Malibu Sessions, and then you decided to go independent. Tell us about some of these experiences with your label versus being independent.
Well, the issues I had with the labels was it was all driven in politics. It was all politics. Had nothing to do with the music or me, to be honest with you. When I was at Motown, the label was bought out by by Polygram rather, for millions of dollars. And the little guys like me who hadn't gotten the record out, or anybody that wasn't really selling well, they were forgotten about. So, you know, and it was about Queen Latifah, Stevie Wonder, Johnny Gill, Boyz II Men, ABC, BBD, you know, because they were big sellers. But I kind of got lost in the mess. I was able to put out 2 tunes on the Meteor Man soundtrack with Robert Townsend, and then 2 tunes for the MoJazz Christmas album that they did, I believe, around '96. But that was all I was able to get out. I did 2 different projects for them, but just political issues got in the way, and business got in the way. So the late, great Gerald Busby gave me the opportunity to leave. It was Gerald Busby and Steve McKeever, who I still hold in high esteem today. Steve McKeever, everybody knows Steve McKeever for signing Jill Scott to Hidden Beach years later, though. Yeah. But this was back in 92, 93, around that time, where the MoJazz label, the jazz label for Motown, was around, and I was signed to MoJazz. But it was just bad politics and crazy business, and I got lost in the shuffle. So Steve McKeever, Gerald Busby, they sat me down and they asked me if I wanted to stay or leave. And I decided to leave because I just wanted to try to spread my wings someplace else. I didn't want to get lost in the shuffle anymore. Yeah. So they let me go. Went out on the road with Buckshot LeFonque featuring Bransford Marsalis. I did a 2-hour showcase for the R&B department once we put this hit tune out, Another Day, that I was featured on and I was part writer of. And the R&B department, they said how much they loved me, but then they passed on me to sign someone else. Oh, so wow. Branford said, well, give me a year or so and we'll try again through Columbia Jazz. So I recorded this great album called Love Stories for Columbia Jazz in 1998. And the R&B department is saying, what is this new record going around with this new guy? And the jazz department is saying, this is the same guy you passed on some time ago to sign somebody else. And y'all didn't want to give him a chance. So the jazz department is taking him on and going to try it out. And there were issues of politics between the heads of the companies that, you know, I won't say names. I'm not that guy. I don't exploit. I tell the testimony. There were some internal issues within the label. And they said, we're going to put this record out. If it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, oh well. But as I say in all my interviews, how do you give birth to a child and tell it to raise itself? It's going to die. Yeah. That's basically the the scenario for Love Stories. They put it out, but the fans caught on. The fans caught on to that record. I think only 25,000 copies of that album was released. And the fans, they caught on. I love my supporters. I love my supporters. once again, it was issues of politics that had nothing to do with me. So I see things from the buying public. I was with a major black label, major white label, so I went to an indie label. They thought they had a modern day slave. I'm the only one on the roster. And the sad thing is that the head of this company got in bed with my management. I took on a new management team. They got in bed and became a team within a team. And they wanted to manipulate me to do things in favor of the label. Well, I was able to find a loophole and get out of that situation. So once I got out of that, as I was getting out of that situation, I found out that one of the producers of the record of one of the projects that I did for Motown, he was bootlegging one of the projects over in the UK for a lot of money. Yeah. I knew it was him because I had opened for Incognito at this place. It was the Birmingham Weekender in Birmingham, England. And I'm signing autographs, about 100 people in the room. It was a big festival. So about 20 people come up to me with a copy of this record called the Motown Sessions. And it was burned, like hand manufactured. It was green on the back of the CD. So it was a CDR. It wasn't mixed, wasn't mastered. And it had an all-star cast on it, man. I'll tell you, Bransford Marsalis, Harvey Mason, Billy Preston, Doc Powell, Bobby Watson, Freddie Washington, who wrote Forget Me Nots with Patrice Rushen. It was a lot of people on this record. And the guy was selling it for 25 pounds. At the time, 25 pounds was $50 US. That's what he was selling my...
50?
He was
wow.
50.
Wow.
That's what he was selling it for. So I was able to get out of the agreement. I went home and I took 12 songs out of what I called my vault at the time. That's my studio. Took 12 songs out. And I didn't want it clean. I wanted it rough, just like his project was. I figured if he could do it, I can do it. I can steal from myself if he can steal it.
Yeah.
So I put 12 songs on a CDR. And my wife and I got towers and we just started burning them and hand packaging them. And I started selling them internationally, just like him. So, I say as well, God used a donkey to talk to a man, but God used a thief to talk to me. That was his way of telling me, this is what you need to be doing. This is the wave of the future now. Run your own thing, And it turned out to be the best thing for me. So what I can say I took from Motown was my street cred. It was a major black label. To say that my first label was Motown is a great thing. It wasn't some rinky-dink, situation. It was Motown Records,
Yeah.
So from there, I go to Columbia and I get my crossover credit, my crossover respect. I'm known all around the world because of the name Columbia Records, because of Love Stories. And then to turn around and I didn't get anything from that indie label, so we ain't gonna even talk about them.
Yeah.
but yeah, I what I got from them, I have to say was I got the knowledge that I needed. Because the guy that produced that album was also the guy that I was working with currently on my second album, The Truth Volume 1. So what I could say, what I got from him was the direction that I needed to start my independent empire. So I've been independent from 2004 up to 2021. Wow. I'm independent, I own my own music, and I'm happy about that. So I could say that I got those things from those situations. But I'm happy owning my own. Now, I'm not going to say every record label is a bad label. I just haven't found the right one. I'm not going to say every booking agency or management is bad. I just haven't found the right ones. So, until then, I'll keep doing what I'm doing until they come to the table.
Yeah. It's like come correct. Because the thing is, some people are just like, oh my gosh, I want to sign. I want to sign a label. They're so big. But then it's like they signed their entire life away. And it's like, no, you have to be clear-headed and be like, is this place going to help me? Like, are these people help me, or are they just going to steal from me? Because like you said, you own all, which most people do not.
Yeah.
Which to think, like, you would think that some of these big artists own some of their music, and it's like, no, there's been huge legal battles.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at the people and legends, believe it or not. You'd be surprised at the legends who didn't do their homework.
Right.
And that's one reason why I really respect Prince, because he took the stand for what he wanted. He took the stand for it, and he paved the way for people like me. Now, I'm not the only one out there, so but I will speak for me, and I will speak for those that are really trying to do it. I'm not afraid. I'm not that guy. Like I said, I don't exploit people. I don't mention names because it's not about that. I'm not trying to exploit nobody. I'm trying to help those that are that are really trying to have a career. It's one thing to be a star, but it's another thing to have a career with longevity. You know, I love what I do. I don't call it my job. I call it a career. I love what I do for a living. And not everybody can say that. You know, I may not be no household superstar name. And a lot of people, this is another thing I want to clear up. A lot of people say Frank McComb is underrated. Frank McComb ain't underrated, baby. Not by far. Because if I was underrated, Prince himself wouldn't have worked with me and talked to me. You know, I'm not underrated. Fred Hammond, that's not a small name in gospel. You know, John Key and Will Smith and all these people that I have rubbed shoulders with. Phillip Bailey. These people wouldn't know who I am. You know, I'm underexposed. I'm underexposed because when I was with those labels, I wasn't given the opportunity to be exposed. They didn't service me to radio, to videos, and all of these different things where most people who became independent had that jump start.
Right.
I never got the jump start.
Mm-hmm.
I never got that jump start. So that's why a lot of people are just catching on to me. Now, if I was the same Frank McComb back in the day who was mad and bitter that they're not doing this for me, they're not doing this for me, I wouldn't see the light. Yeah. The light in all of this is the fact that I would much rather people say, who's Frank McComb, than to say Frank McComb was a has-been at 50 years old. So it's like a new beginning every day for me. I'm cool with it. I just need the people to be that's my publicity, you know, my publicity team, my fans. Yeah. You know, spread the word on Frank McComb. Real music still lives. I'm right here.
It's still done.
Yeah.
So, what musicians inspire you, Frank?
Oh, man. You know what? We've been here for about a good 3 hours.
Okay, just like a couple.
A lot of people say, you know, oh, Frank McComb is just Herbie Hancock, Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder. Well, there's more to me than George Duke, which is great, you know, great. I don't take nothing away from that. But there's so much more to me. I love Parliament. I love the Spinners. I love the Shy Lights, Isaac Hayes, Natalie Cole, you know, Patrice Rushen. And I mean, Patrice Rushen she was playing piano before she ever opened her mouth to sing. She had straight ahead records. She had jazz albums, rather, should I say. Straight ahead and contemporary. Yeah. Before she ever spoke a word of Forget Me Nots and You Remind Me. And I had the pleasure of working with her, you know. But so many people think that it's all just Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock, George Duke. But, man, I mean, we can go on. I like today Kendrick Lamar is my hero. Yeah, I love Kendrick Lamar. Oh man, I love Kendrick Lamar. Anderson .Paak, you know, and my wife sat me down and made me listen to that single that Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak did. It's killing. You know, it's killing. And I depend on her, my son, and my daughter. They keep me young with all this new stuff today.
So for people that are watching right now, how can they support you in your career, Frank?
Go to my Bandcamp and download everything 3 times.
There's 5 albums. Bandcamp. Right?
Yeah, Bandcamp. Now, all my music is, you know, it's out there digitally, you know, all of the outlets, you know. And it's cool when you go there. When you go there and download music and stream or whatnot, you get your music right away, but we as recording artists, we don't see it for 3 months later. But if you go to my Bandcamp page, frankmccomb.bandcamp.com.
Those are all the questions I have for you this evening, but you're going to perform 2 songs for us.
Yeah, I guess I can do that. Let me see. Can y'all see me?
We can see.
Let me see. Each night before I lay down, I pray that tomorrow will be the day I get enough mental strength to speak and let her know all about me. Then I drift off to sleep and I began to dream, but never a nightmare. She's the only one day. So I gotta find a way to her heart. Do the best I can to impress this girl. Find my way to her heart, yeah. Cause I really love her. Searching for the right words to say to her. I know. Gotta get my guys together, yeah. Searching for the words today that I found a way, baby, to her heart. Gotta do the best I can to impress you, baby. Got to find my way to her heart. Cause I really love her. Find my way. Said I gotta do the best I can to embrace you, baby. Gotta find my way, yeah, to her heart. Cause I really love her, yeah. Got
Yes.
Yeah, that's from the album Love Stories. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Give it up for Frank, guys.
Yeah. Do you play or sing anything? What you do, girl?
What do? I interview people.
Just interview? So no music, no nothing, no instruments, just interviewing.
I did sing a little bit. I did musical theater in high school, so.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a little bit.
I ain't mad at that. You know, I've always wanted to act, not just act the fool, but I've always wanted to act, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to act, so yeah. Oh, well, you know what we can do the tune you were just talking about. Ain't nobody hush me the way I feel today. I'm still gonna say what I gotta say. I don't need no enemies with friends like these today. I'm better off by myself anyway. I learned to depend on God and not on man. Man will always let me down every chance he can. Hold on to my faith. I take the time to pray. Cause I've been trapped by evil men and the evil way. Is this that part you were talking about?
Yes.
They're talk. Say what they want to say. Remain true to yourself. And in the end, you'll be happier that way. I wouldn't share with you something that I haven't gone through. And I'm still gonna keep pushing on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They tried to deceive me to get the things that they wanted. And at one time, my soul could have been bought. Didn't have the education, so it happened to me once before. But what they failed to realize is by their own kind I was taught. I learned you gotta go through some things to get somewhere. And if it comes too easily, you're gonna be alone out there. So I have a lot of patience. All good things come in time. So get yours honestly and live with peace of mind. Remember, they're gonna talk, say what they wanna say. Remain true to yourself, yeah. And you'll be happier that way. I wouldn't share with you something that I haven't gone through. And I'm still gonna keep pushing on. Yeah. It's written in black and white that the evil man is doomed by his own sins. And while he's plotting his evil, he doesn't realize he's doing himself in. Yeah. Now us in the night workers come to the light. And what's evil's been revealed. You see all your friends in the real, yeah. And they're gonna talk, oh yeah, say what they wanna say. Remain true to yourself, and in the end you'll be happier that way. I wouldn't share with you something that I haven't gone through, no. And I'm still gonna keep pushing on. I'm still gonna keep pushing on, yeah. I'm still gonna keep pushing. Oh, pushing on, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes! Oh, that was awesome, Frank. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amazing. So I think we have a couple minutes for questions. So guys, if you have any questions for Frank, put them in the chat below and we will get to some of them.
Yeah. Ask me some questions. Ask me no questions, I tell you no lies. That was an old blues joint. Yeah. That's an old blues cut. Ask me no questions, I tell you no lies.
So you've worked with so many incredible musicians. What was the best you had thus far?
The best experience? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh man. That is a tough one. Because I've had a lot of great experiences. Phillip Bailey was the first to ever take me out of the country.
Yeah.
So he took me to Japan.
Amazing.
Many times. Bransford was the first to ever take me to Europe. Mm-hmm. So many times. But I think if I had to name one, it would be the making of my album, No Rehearsal Live in Amsterdam. Yeah. That's where my actual band is based. You know, the Frank McComb Quartet is there. I played with great musicians around the world. I got to give a shout out to my guys here in LA. I mean, awesome band. Anthony Crawford on bass, Jovia Armstrong on percussion, Frank Fluker on drums. Great unit to play with. So I mean, I would mind doing a record with them. You know, but I would have to say that the greatest experience so far would be the night I recorded that album in Amsterdam with Jan Vroom on drums, his younger brother Yeri Vroom on percussion, and the bass legend, string arranger, genius Glenn Gaddam Jr. on bass. So how that came about, I was actually booked to play a club called the Melkweg. You got to get that in there or it's wrong. It make your throat hurt, you know. That's that Dutch, you know.
Yeah.
Melkweg. But it means Milky Way, right? And the place was half sold like 2 weeks before the show. So I reached out to the club and I said, hey, would you guys mind me doing a live record here? And they were like, go for it. They didn't charge me or anything. Just go for it. Do it. And before I knew it, I think within 5-6 days it had sold out once I put the word out that we were doing a live record there. When I tell you Amsterdam showed up and showed out, oh man, go to my Bandcamp and look for it. I'm telling you, all you guys, go to my Bandcamp. It's already pinned up there. And you'll see all my records. Download No Rehearsal Live in Amsterdam. It's going to mess you up because we literally had no rehearsal. None. Yeah. We got up there, and what you hear on that album is what was recorded that night. And I'm proud to say that I recorded, engineered, mixed, mastered, and released that record. I did all the work on that album. I do all of my own records. So what you hear is the work of my hands. Mm-hmm. You know, almost every record that you look at is going to be from the work of my hands on that Bandcamp page. So support the artist and not the system. It's a great record. And what I did was this record was made like they did the albums in the 70s, you know, the live records in the 70s. They weren't concerned about radio airplay. They wanted to capture the spirit of the night, you know, and those that were in the house, they could hear themselves on the record, you know, which, you know, that was really cool, you know. Yeah. But yeah, it was an experience. It was a great experience. Yeah, that would have to be, if I had to pick an experience, it would be that one. Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Amsterdam. Thank you, Amsterdam.
Lauren wants to know, when are you coming back to Philly?
Philly. As soon as I can get a spot that'll bring me back. I am ready to travel. I'm ready to perform and play. I'm not scared of COVID. Let me tell you something. As long as you do your part and I do my part, we will all be safe. I'm not afraid of COVID, just like I wasn't afraid of the earthquake that happened in Kobe, Japan in the early 90s. Or when was that? Around the early 90s. Y'all remember when the volcanoes erupted? I was on a European tour. I was stuck in Cologne, Germany. I wasn't afraid of that. the tsunami in Tokyo, I missed it by 2 days.
Oh, wow.
You know? Yeah. I mean, I'm not afraid. I've faced so many disasters. I'm not afraid of this. I'm going to do my part. Everybody else do their part, then I can come out and perform. So if there's anybody out there who's ready to book Frank McComb, fmconcerts@gmail.com. Yes. Let's get it cracking. I'm the booking agent. So let's get it going. Oh, yeah.
What's your favorite place to perform?
Ooh, you gonna get me in trouble.
I know. Hey, these are not my questions, Frank.
Well, somebody's out there that's gonna get me in some trouble. No, actually, I have a lot of favorite places to play. It's hard to name one, but if I had to say, it would have to be a toss-up between Amsterdam and Tokyo. It's a toss, like a toss between Amsterdam and Tokyo. Mm-hmm. Well, then there's Rome too, because there's spots in Italy I love, and I love the food there too. So, you know, oh Lord, yes. Yes. I love to eat. Ooh, I love to eat. There was a time when I was traveling, the food was just so good everywhere I went. I was just posting it on my Facebook, and posting what I was having for lunch in Europe on a regular basis. It's hard to say, but I would have to say that those would be my top 3 places. Don't get me wrong, though. I love LA. I do love LA, but opportunity doesn't present itself that often for me to play LA, and that's got to change. Yeah, it's got to change. I hear from a lot of fans that they're tired of seeing the same people play the same venues all the time. Well, I'm here. Raise hell at the clubs. Tell them to call me. I'll come give you a show. It's right down the street.
Yeah, so, Frank, LA. So
I'm right here. So
reach out.
Yeah, just many places, but I would have to say those 3. I will say on the top of my list where I would love to play that I have not played yet is Brazil. Brazil. Ooh, yeah. I got to get. Yeah, I've been to Brazil. I was there with Bransford Marsalis some years ago, but I mean, we're talking the 90s. I haven't been back since. So yeah, Brazil Brazil is like the #1 place that I need to get to play. I have loads of fans there. They give me a lot of love and respect in Brazil, and I still have yet to get to them. Hold on just a second. Hold on. Who is that? PRS fair _ fair. Wait a minute. Can you hear this?
Yep.
As the fish from the sea, like the wind blowing, all the words come naturally to me. That describes just how much I do love you, lady. Like the birds in the air, fly without a care. Nothing else compares to you. Like a king treats his queen, there's nothing I would not do for you. I travel the whole wide world twice in a day For you nothing's impossible. Go to let the whole world know our love is purely natural. Yeah, our love will last beyond the end of time. To have to grow a love strong as yours and mine. Love has to start as friends for it to grow. And friendship's the main ingredient for love, natural. No, no, no. Na, 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 na. Yeah, love natural. There you go.
Love it. How many Rhodes pianos do you actually own?
Oh, just this one. I had a few of them, but yeah, it's just this one. I love this piano. Signed by Herbie Hancock, George Duke, and Greg Phillinganes, all in the same night. April 12th, 2004. We were honoring Herbie Hancock. I'm a BMI writer, broadcast music. And BMI was honoring Herbie Hancock. And Terry Lynn Carrington called me because she was the head of the band that was doing it. She said, Frank, can we use one of your pianos? And I said, yeah, of course. What kind of question is that? So I grabbed my piano, I tuned it up, overhauled it, and cleaned it up because I work on Rhodes pianos all the time.
Yeah.
And I took it down there. George Duke played on it. Greg Phillinganes played on it. And Herbie actually helped me set it up. That was really cool. Yeah, because we had put it together during the sound check, and Herbie had just walked in, and they had trouble lining up the speaker to the top of the piano. So Herbie came over there and reached up from the floor, reached up to the stage because it was elevated, and moved the piano around until we got it locked.
Oh, wow.
So I made them sign my piano at the end of the night. Yeah. So I mean, I met Herbie. The first time I met Herbie, I was every bit of 16 years old. Wow. Yeah, and he remembered me all these years. Yeah, George Benson, another one. I was 16, and George and I, we just talked for on his birthday a few days ago. Known these guys a long time, man. They embraced me and gave me mad love, and I wasn't even in the business yet. You know, they just they would come to town, and I would go to the shows, and they embraced me. So
very cool.
That's God's favor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is my main axe right here. I just rebuilt it. About 2 weeks ago.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yep. I love this thing, man. Love it. Absolutely.
Warren wants to know, what was it like being around Prince?
What was it like being around Prince? Yeah. Royalty. Because as long as I was with him, everybody treated me the way they treated him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Being around Prince it was really cool. I mean, every time, and I have to say this, Prince and Stevie, it was something about them. Being around those two people made me want to write. It just stirred up something in me that made me want to go home and create. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it was, but it just rubbed off. And I thought it was really cool, just the fact that he would even embrace me. Prince and I were talking one day. We never got to do it though, but he said that he wanted me to sing an album of his songs, just all new material. And just go in. He said, I pay you a lot of money just to sing it, just to sing the tunes. Whoa. And we never got around to doing it. Sad to say. We never got around to doing it. But he had a lot of respect for me. A lot of respect for me. Yeah. I didn't take that lightly either because he's not your everyday dude, People saw him as a god. But to me, he was just another person, and I treated him as such, and he respected me for it. I mean, I was in his home, and he had this big screen TV. He was a big Kevin Garnett fan because he does love basketball. Well, he did love basketball. And I watched him order the latest movies from Paramount and the latest movies from Universal. Mm-hmm. And he said he needed somebody to bring them up to his place, bring DVDs up to his place. Yeah. I was like, do I really want that? I want to be able to go to the movies. But for him to be that trusting, to hang around little old me, let me hang around him and watch that side of him, that was so cool. That was really cool. Because, I mean, people see him as a god, but, just little old me hanging with him, I'm like, okay, We watching movies? Okay, cool.
Watching movies?
Cool. Yeah. It was the coolest, man. He was the coolest. He was. He was the coolest. Yeah.
Did you name your piano?
Oh, they named it when they signed it.
Well, okay.
His name got all three of those names. So he's Herbie one day, George one day, and Greg the next. So I guess it all depends on what song I'm cutting and what feel I'm looking for. That's his name that day. I had a 73 stage model that I named Patrice Hancock. So it was named after Patrice Rushen and Herbie Hancock because of the tone that I put on that particular piano. And I used that piano. That particular piano was used on a shorty. I call them shorties because certain songs I write, they're too long to be interludes, but too short to be called songs, so I call them shorties. That particular piano, Patrice Hancock, was used on a song called White Line in the Sky. It was a shorty. So there's some people out there that know that tune. That's the piano I used on that record. But this piano here, Herbie, George, Greg, this piano has been used on like almost all of my records. I mean, A Tribute to the Masters, Straight from the Vault. Oh God, you name it, it's on it. This record is, I mean, this piano is on almost all of my records. It is. Yeah. So it's a signature sound that I gave it that I won't give anybody else's pianos.
Wow.
So you know it's me when you hear it. I'm selfish like that. I'm greedy. That's my inner Daffy Duck.
Nothing wrong with
I'm greedy.
honesty.
Yeah.
So Frank, do you have any final words for the room?
Support Frank McComb in every aspect possible. Yeah. Support Frank McComb. Buy my records. I said records, didn't I? I didn't say download my music. I said buy my records. Damn. Wow. Buy my records. Download anything Frank McComb. Follow me on Instagram. And my Instagram is Frank McComb. My Facebook, my fan page is Frank McComb Fans. My Facebook page is Booby Scoot, my record label, BOOBEESCOOT, Booby Scoot, just the way it sounds. Yeah. And my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's FMTV. That's it, FMTV, the official YouTube channel for Frank McComb. So you guys follow me. You guys are my mouthpiece. You're my publicity. You're my media team. I need you guys to put the word out about Frank McComb. Bug your radio stations and tell them to play some Frank McComb. XM Radio, bug them. Get in touch with Kame and Kelly over there, and Dave Dickinson over there. Yeah, get in touch with them at XM Radio. Tell them you want to hear some Frank McComb. You know, and go to Bandcamp, download my music, stream my music there. FrankMcComb.bandcamp.com. Yep. Be on the lookout for my masterclass, FMIAI. It's the Frank McComb Independent Artist Institute, where I'm schooling people on just how to sustain as an independent artist, or just as an artist, period. Because there's some cats out there that are signed to main situations that don't know what they're doing. They're in a situation, you know. So, you know, just be on the lookout for that. I might do another class in the next month or so. FMIAI, and don't forget about the apparel. You go to my Facebook and my Instagram, and you'll see how to get it. 3104 Customs. 3104 Customs. So it's not hard to find. I'm just Google my name. I'm there.
Yes. You can find Frank everywhere. YouTube.
That's right.
Frank is everywhere. You can find him. So
That's
Frank,
right.
I want to say thank you for coming on my show. This is episode 60 for me, so this is pretty big for me. And I'm so honored that you're on my show, Frank. This was a fun time.
60?
6?
Oh. I'm special. I got a special number, 60. I'm not like 61 or 59.
No, you are.
I'm actually 60. That's what I'm talking about. So you'll never forget this one.
No. So Frank, I just want to say thank you for spending your evening with me. Guys, thank you for your questions. Thank you for being so honest with us, Frank, about music, career, and just your collaborations. Like, it's so fun to talk to you.
Oh man, we can do this again. We can do this again. I want to be like 65. So we remember 60 and 65.
Or 75 or 100. So
yeah, we can do all of those. I'm down. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Frank, thank you so much for being on my show. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to follow Frank. Please make sure to follow me. I am Ashley. This is Vibin with Ashley Live. And I support great music. And please support Frank. Have a
That's
good night,
right.
guys.
Take care, you guys.
Bye bye.